we're Nerds of the West, and today we're giving you our thoughts on Coffee Rush, so you can decide if this game might be right for you and your board game play group. We do have to say that this game was sent to us, so keep that in mind. So thank you very much to the distributor and publisher for sending it out to us. We, the people that are going to be talking about this game, we have Beck.
Cafe.
We have a Chris.
Cafe.
My name is Tom. We have a Sean.
Cappuccino.
Before we rank it on our list, before we give our reviews, you guys are going to need to know what this game is about. Sean, how does Coffee Rush work?
So Coffee Rush is a game where you'll be getting orders for coffees because you're playing as a barista, and you'll be collecting ingredients from this central board as you move around. So like so. And then you'll be putting those ingredients into your coffee cups. And then when you make up an order, so this order here for the chocolate shake requires chocolate, milk, and ice. You will complete it, and then you will put it into your scoring pile. However, once you have finished taking your ingredients, time goes by, and your orders...
Slowly.
So your orders here, will slide it down. So if they go off the end of your little tableau board, then they will go into your bad review section, which they will give you negative points at the end of the game. There's various things like to move around the board. You can only move 3 spaces unless you get some upgrades, which you can spend your positive completed orders to unlock. And the game keeps going until either any one person at the table has 5 missed orders, so 5 incomplete orders, or you run out of coffee cards in the deck.
You score a point for every completed order. You lose a point for failed orders, but you're trading in points for upgrades. You're still getting 2 points for them, so you're trading in 1 point for the ability to get more resources. I'm going to start. We haven't done this for a while. The art, the components, everything about this game is so adorable and fun.
It's brilliant.
Like these tiny little components that go into these tiny little coffee cups are just so incredibly cute and incredibly satisfying to put things into and match it up to the drinks. It's just...
Yeah.
Can I just say a quick cheers for everybody? Cheers.
Cheers.
Our hands are literally too big to get the coffee cups in between.
It's like
They're
small fists.
No.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
I agree. Like the components, like all the little ingredients, the little wooden guys that you move around.
All the different art for the different drinks. There's 2 or 3 like double ups.
Yeah, the art is great. I like the style of it.
I love the box art. Like
Box is pretty cool.
it looks like a little cafe. Like it's just
Bring it close for people to see.
Yeah, the whole theme is on point for sure.
Look, there we go. So yeah, like art is pretty nice. Yeah, I think like overall visually, this is a very pretty game.
Very pretty. Like all of the coffees are like they look like their names, even if the ingredients end up being the same. They're all visually distinct.
Yeah.
So you can see what makes one different from another, and I really enjoyed that. What do you think, Gary?
my one, and this is such a minor gripe, and this might just be how my brain works. So many like item collection, set collection games, because that's what this is at the end of the day. You get the items, and you either have a board or you have the area, like the cards that you put the items on, and so it's easier to track. Putting them in the coffee cups is just that little bit harder.
Yeah.
And like it's satisfying and it's fun, and you've got the possibility that you mess it up and you got to throw out your coffee cup because once things are in there you can't like undo it. But it's like it is fine, but it's just that little bit. It makes that game that little bit more brain bending when everything else going on is so like I need to maximize what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think I was the only one doing this. I had my coffee cups in order in which I was going to complete them.
That makes sense.
So if I had something down here I was going to complete, I filled that up, and every time I completed an order, I shuffled everything down and then put my coffee in behind. It then meant that like I kind of had a mental note of what I was completing first. Because like, for instance, if I had coffee beans in something, I may have had like, a bunch of coffee beans down here, but I never filled from like the back or the middle. I only ever filled from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So played like a true barista.
Yeah.
Everything is in order.
I needed it to stay in such a space, so I wasn't like, what was that supposed to go with and what was this supposed to go with? It was only ever, this is the one I'm completing first, second, third, and then I would usually complete it from this end up.
Yeah. Speaking of played, how do we feel about the main gameplay loop of moving around the board, completing coffees, but then the coffees moving down and things becoming steadily more and more stressful.
I think it is deceptively challenging. I think you look at it and you're like, it's going to be so easy. This game's going to go forever.
This game nails its name. It is definitely a rush. Like when we first started off, we had 2 coffees on the board. Chris was the first player, so he gets 3 coffees to start off with, 1 in his second time slot, and we had 2 in our first time slot. And I was looking, I was like, oh, this is pretty easy. And then when you complete a coffee, the 2 people further along in next in line get how many new orders as coffees that you've completed. So if you completed 2 coffees, the next 2 people would get 2 more coffees that will come out.
Puts the pressure on the second you complete more than 1 coffee.
Instantly just started going crazy. Like our orders were racking up. I was like, I am anxious about how much stuff I've got to complete.
But on the other side of that, and it's kind of what triggered the end game, if you complete multiple drinks in a turn, right? If Chris completes 3 drinks in a turn, you and I both draw 3 drinks, which is like a 10th of the deck, maybe. There's maybe like 60 cards in here.
Yeah,
that's right.
So it just shuffles through everything so quickly.
Yeah.
It's a very like nuanced mathematical principle. It's like for every single coffee I finish, there are 2 going onto the board. So of course, by the end, look at how many cards are out. It's like the panic kind of ramps up just like naturally and as a consequence of how the game is designed. It's very well done.
Not only does it ramp up and forces at least one person into failure, right? Like you ended up with 3 failed coffees. But what
So did Sean.
That would
by the end.
Oh, no, I didn't. I only had 2.
One for demonstration.
What that means is when a coffee falls off, you get a rush token, which is an extra movement, which is an extra ingredient, and potentially later in the game, multiple ingredients, because the upgrades give you better movement around the board, and the potential for 2 or 4 ingredients when you land on a space. So the upgrades are, if you move through a space where someone else is, you get 2 ingredients. If you land on one of these specialty markers, you get 2 ingredients. And if you're on the corner, you get 2 ingredients. So if you are trying to complete 3 copies in a turn, the game just ramps every single time. Even failure moves this game forward, which is such a really simple, basic design element, but it just makes everything in this game is constantly moving forward.
It's about making sacrifices as well. Because I think, like, again, I'm talking about like min-maxing it. It's like if you can, like, because it happened a few times. It's like you would complete a specialty menu item, but then let the non-specialty menu item fall off the board. That's 2 rush tokens you're getting, which means you have 2 extra movement, which can then help you complete so much more. I also think, like, you look at the upgrade system and you go, well, it's going to make so much sense to get the one where if you pass over someone, you get 2. But logically, like, I never needed that. I went for the corners instead because I was more likely to need the basic ingredients that live on the corners rather than the specialty ingredients or where everybody else found themselves sitting in the middle of the board.
And that is entirely randomized because you are drawing random cards from the deck and you don't know what ingredients you're going to need in the future, but you're also so focused on the copies that are just at the bottom that you're not planning 3 turns ahead because you can't. You don't know who's going to block you off. You don't know what extra bonuses are going to be right at the right time. And I think that was the most satisfying thing for me was 2 or 3 times in a game, you're going to be able to upgrade a card. And it is purely situational. This turn right now, what upgrade do I need? You can't plan that far in the future. So you can't, like, I don't think you're never going to upgrade everything. So it's super situational. Do the best you can in that moment. But it's also quick.
And that's where my negative comes from.
Really?
Okay, let's hear
That
it.
was such a positive for me. Let's hear this out.
So I So I didn't like how quickly this game ended. I didn't like the idea of the deck running out. That's the end of the game because I felt like I just got my engine right. Even though I had a ton of orders and I was nervous, I really think this game should run till someone has failed 5 orders. You just shuffle these back up when you run out and you go again. I just felt like the way the turns work and with the randomness, you can work with that, but you can't work with that on the time limit. When considering, like, I didn't ever think we were going to get through this deck and I don't think any of us did. And then we blitzed through it
That's true. And I noticed that you ended up with 4 rush tokens and me with 3 because I wasn't even paying attention. So during the game, I should have just used these, right? Because if I had foreseen that the
I only got these rush tokens on the last turn of mine that I didn't realize was my last turn.
Exactly.
And I kind of set myself up to get these 4 ready to make a big play next turn.
Yeah.
And then it just ended. And I don't know. I just felt like it's not true to the game. I think the game being coffee rush, you got to end it when someone just can't manage.
Yeah.
When you're like, I got too many orders, I'm done. That's it. I failed 5.
The other side of it is that potentially could not happen. Everyone could just finish everything.
Yeah. Like, it does actually kind of bug me that we've finished the game and we have all of these orders that are just sitting here waiting to be finished. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like a real cafe. They don't end the day with all of these orders like half made or just people standing in going, I've ordered this. When will I get it? Never. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fair. And don't get me wrong, this is a very cute game. It's like, I just think the end mechanic.
Yeah.
You're right. It just finishes the game way too soon. Like, I was really starting to get into it. And then it was like, we have 9 cards left.
Yeah.
That's it. The game's over in 5 minutes.
So on the other side, as someone who appreciated the shorter game length, I find games where it is do the best you can with what you have, right? Your choices are limited. You are just trying to minimize the harm that is happening to you. If those games drag on too long, they feel unsatisfying and frustrating to play. So this game hit that sweet spot of do the best you can, have fun, enjoy the mechanics, and don't spend too much time on it.
That's why I think it would have been interesting for us to play a second game, because you were saying like you felt like you just got your engine going at the end. I almost feel like your assessment might change if you had played a second game, knowing what you know now.
Straight after, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like,
I'm really curious to see this game at 2 players. Because the deck size doesn't change, so I think the likelihood of someone having really big turns and forcing something like the push and pull of going back and forth, you also have 2 workers on the board to move around slightly differently. I think it could be really interesting.
Yeah.
The kind of game where we'd rank it on our board as 2 separate games, not because that's how we rank things here. We don't try to say objectively one game is better than another. We all have different opinions, but just if given the opportunity, what we would prefer to play. So this is our Nerds of the West ranking list. We will re-rank this at the end of the year, and we'll also give a few awards out for best component, best art, best various things going on. And I think this game is probably going to be a front runner for
sure.
that. So with all of that in mind, with the fact that this game is so short, it ramps up so quickly, where would you rank it on the board?
I have an answer ready to go.
Go on then.
It's living around this section for me here. And it's essentially because I would like to play Pyramido again, so it would go above Coffee Rush. However, I think it has a little bit more diversity when comparing it to Bark Avenue, which I feel is a game in a similar vein. It's a cute game. It's a set collection game. It's a, completing objectives
it's essentially
game.
movement around a board.
Movement around a board as well. So for me, they live very similarly with each other, but I think this one has a little bit more variety and is a little bit shorter, which lets it sit just above Bark Avenue for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Just in terms of what I would love to play, I would put this right up there, probably on level with Ark Nova, because I had fun. It was good. There was an appropriate amount of panic, and I think mechanically this game is very succinct and very successful.
It's not complicated. Once you've got it.
That's right. It's a matter of the game is simple, but it's about how you manage the stress that is brings the complexity. So that was good. I loved it.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Beck. Around the Bark Avenue slot where you're getting games that are either quick and simple or in depth, but not your super heavy Euros. Those games that are you can pull out with anyone. This fits into that mold. Anyone can pick this game up and play it. So I'm slapping it just below Age of Eon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Somewhere in the middle there for me.
All right, let's put it down there next to just under Bark Avenue.
I'm going to put it above
Just
Bark
above,
Avenue
yeah,
because
Bark
you put
Avenue.
it so high.
Yeah, true.
But that's our thoughts on Coffee Rush. If you're playing this or you want to check it out in the future, you can let us know down in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, how you enjoyed this game. We have been Nerds Less. We do this live every single week, and you can support us by joining us live, jumping on our Patreon, or just hanging out with us in chat and Discord in all the fun places we do fun things. All the links are down below. We have had Sean.
Cappuccino, you latte.
Beck.
I'm Spana.
Chris.
Mocha goodbye.
My name is Tom, and we'll catch you
Mocha, see
next
you
time.
later.